Do you ever feel like there's a version of yourself you're afraid to confront? A version of you that's maybe messy, imperfect, or maybe even a little bit intimidating? That's your shadow. What if I told you today that your shadow isn't something to run from or to be stored away? Your shadow is this neat little box that needs to be unpacked, and 9 times out of 10 when you do, you find secrets to your true calling and unlocking your truest potential. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you guys 7 secrets to becoming unshakably confident and unlocking your truest potential. Your shadow is made up of all the parts of yourself that you've been taught to hide. Your fears, your insecurities, your mistakes, and even traits others didn't like. Today, I want to grab you by the notebook and tell you that your shadow isn't something to be stored away. What I want you to do is grab your phone or a notebook and list 3 things you usually avoid thinking about. It could be a insecurity, a past mistake, a failure. Here's the tip. Do not judge whatever comes up. Embrace these as part of your story.
Who are you?
I've been asking the same question.
Embracing your shadow is about welcoming all the parts of yourself that you've been running from, and not just identifying them, but actively choosing to accept these and own these as part of yourself. It's very easy to ignore what feels messy, uncomfortable, or even inconvenient. But think about your shadow as being the roots of a tree. The tree can't grow tall without it being solid in its foundation, even if they are buried out of sight. Here's how you embrace it. Instead of seeing your shadow as the enemy, see it as a teacher.
I have come home, Master.
When you feel anger, fear, or even self-doubt rising, do not suppress it. Pause and ask yourself, what is this trying to teach me or show me? For example, anger might be highlighting where you need to set a boundary. Or self-doubt could be a call to improve where you feel unprepared. Next time a shadow moment surfaces, do not fight it. Sit with it, understand it, and then decide how to use it. Embracing your shadow doesn't mean letting it take over. It means transforming that energy into strength. When you accept all parts of yourself, the good, the bad, the messy, you step into a level of confidence that's unshakable. That's real power. Step 3. Reframe your inner dialogue. Your inner dialogue is the most influential voice you have. It's with you in every decision you take, every challenge, and every quiet moment. But here's the challenge people face. That inner dialogue is often a critic most times than it is a teacher for people, or a support. But the good news is you have the power to flip that switch. What I want you to do is start by noticing the tone of your thoughts throughout the day. Pay attention when your inner voice turns negative. For example, when you think, I'm not good enough, or I always mess up. Pause and write it down. Seeing these thoughts on paper gives you clarity. It helps you understand the patterns and recognize how often they come up. Now let's reframe them. Take those negative phrases and turn them into something neutral or constructive. For example, if you're always thinking, I always fail, shift it to, I'm learning and growing. If you tell yourself, I'm not confident, change it to, confidence is something I'm working on, and I'll get there. The idea isn't to lie to yourself, but to speak to yourself in a way that encourages growth instead of shutting it down. Here's an actionable tip. When reframing feels hard, start small by adding the word yet. Instead of, I can't do this, I want you to say, I can't do this yet. That single word alone changes your mindset from defeat to possibility. You see what I mean? Now take it a step further by creating a reframe bank. Write down 5 empowering phrases you can refer to when negativity strikes. Like, I am capable of handling challenges, or every mistake is a chance to improve. Use these whenever self-doubt creeps in. Another powerful practice is catching your wins. At the end of each day, write down 1 or 2 moments where you handled something really good or really well, or you overcame a challenge, or you made progress. No matter how small, these wins reinforce your belief in yourself and help balance out self-criticism. Reframing your inner dialogue takes practice, but it's also one of the most powerful ways to reclaim control over your life and over yourself. Remember, confidence isn't built in a day. It takes practice, just like riding a bike. It starts with how you speak to yourself and the thoughts you carry with yourself throughout the day. Step 4. Stand in your values. There's so many voices telling us what to do, who to be, and what we should be doing with our time. It's easy to forget what truly matters to us. But what if the real power lies in embracing your own values unapologetically? When you stand in your values, you no longer bend to the will of others. So here's an exercise for you. Think of 3 core values that guide your life. They could be traits you admire in others, or things you've always held dear to yourself. Write them down, reflect on how these values show up in your everyday life, and never compromise these. Every time you compromise or ignore what matters to you, you give away your power. It's time to stand strong in those values unapologetically. So from now on, when you're faced with a decision or a challenge, I want you to ask yourself, does this align with my values? If the answer is no, I want you to take a step back. Honor your values by saying no to anything that does not resonate with what you stand for. When you live authentically, others will respect you for it, and you naturally attract the energy that aligns or belongs to you.
I like this one.
Step 5. I want you to channel your shadow into strength. Your shadow, the anger, frustration, sadness, or doubt you've been told to suppress, isn't your enemy. It's energy waiting to be transformed. These emotions, when channeled with intention, can fuel growth and achievement. Frustration with your current situation, for example, can spark the drive to improve it, while sadness, on the other hand, can deepen your understanding of yourself and others. When you focus on the bigger picture, you realize that these emotions are only temporary, but can lead to lasting progress if you direct them wisely. So here's how to channel your emotions. First off, I want you to identify the emotion. The next time you feel overwhelmed by a strong emotion, pause and ask yourself, what am I feeling and why? Naming the emotion helps you understand it rather than fear it. Step 2, I want you to redirect that energy. Use the intensity of that emotion as fuel for action. If you're angry, take a physical task like exercising or organizing your space. If you're frustrated, focus on solving a challenge or tackling something you've been putting off. When you turn emotional energy into something tangible, you feel empowered rather than drained. And then the next step is create a power ritual. Confidence is built through the small intentional actions you take every day. A power ritual isn't just a routine. It's a deliberate practice that reinforces your strength and mindset. And finally, set boundaries without guilt. True confidence doesn't just come from how you see yourself. It's also reflected in how you allow others to treat you. Setting boundaries is one of the most powerful ways to reclaim your worth, but it's not always easy. We all know that the fear of disappointing others or being perceived as difficult can make you hesitate. But here's the truth. Every time you say yes to something that drains you, you're saying no to your own needs and priorities.
I gotta put me first, Lucian.
Decide what behaviors you will and will not tolerate and communicate these limits clearly but respectfully. Remember, setting boundaries isn't selfish, it's self-respect. The people who truly value you will appreciate and honor your limits. And while those who don't, well, the reaction says more about them than about you. And those are the 7 steps to mastering who you are. I hope this video has been helpful for you guys as it has been for me. Remember, we learn more about ourselves the more time we spend and focus on ourselves. And that's the key to growing confident. It's not gonna happen overnight, but implementing some of these steps would definitely put you on the right trajectory. It's been your boy JC. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and show some love to the video by hitting that like button as well. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Stay true to yourselves, kings and queens, and keep going at it. With that being said, peace out.